G'day, welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today I want to do a video on things that are coming up in our channel. We've got a few goodies, a few bits and pieces. Some we've purchased, some have been sent to us to test and review. But I wanted to go through and show you the bits and pieces as to what it is we're going to be up to in the not too distant future. First, I've got a couple of scopes here. Both probably in what I would call tier 2. So a little bit better budget options, still got some really good features to use in both the medium range stuff and the ELR stuff, but both great scopes that we plan on using a little bit over our winter season. First off, I suppose we'll go with the Night Force to start off with. Night Force is sort of our one we use a lot of with the Night Force attackers. This is the NX8 scope, so the NX8. We had one of these before in the first focal plane. It's a smaller unit in the first focal plane, up to 20 power, which is a great little scope. Really liked it. Really clear, really good vision, really nice glass, and a really nice little scope. First focal plane, and I was really hoping for second focal plane in that option, in that level down, so the tier 2 rather than the tier 1, like the attackers and the beast and that sort of stuff. And then they came out with them. So they actually sent us one to have a little play with. This is second focal plane, and it's the 4 to 32. So it's the NX8, so it's 8 by. Second focal plane, MOA, and listen, really looking forward to it. They are a 50mm objective, these, and they are a 30mm tube. So it's a little bit better budget than option than what the Night Force Attacker is. Has a lot of the similar features and should perform very, very well. The first focal plane in the NX8 was really good glass, right up there with the top stuff, so I was really happy with that. This one here, what has it got? It's got 100 minutes of elevation is what I've wound into it and tested. That's what it had there. It had, like I said, it's second focal plane. I like the reticle, and it's really set up, well, I should say what you're looking at. I've put on this is a Vortex, so clashing of brands, but I like these little bubble levels, so I've set up one of those. That's nice and simple, and I put it in an air attack base. The reason I do that, the air attack base gives me more adjustment, so this setup on the right rail will give me up to 170 minutes of elevation, but really what I put it on there is I can put it on any rail. So I can put it on any rifle, even a 0 or a 60, or a 50, that's the most I could go to, but I can put it on there, and then I can set this thing up to actually use the scope properly, where I can get a 100 yard 0 and get up to 100 minutes or more elevation. So what I will do, I'll do a proper review on this later on, but I just want to introduce it. We've got this little scope here. I actually was using this one on shooting the 243 to a mile. Really like the scope already, but like I said, I'll do a proper review later on, but we want to run a few miles on it first, and then we'll let you know what we think. Like it so far. The other one, now Val over at Valdada did us a good price on this here, and it's one I've looked at and been interested in for a little while. Now this is a fixed power, so not first focal plane, second plane, this is fixed power, 16 power by 56. It is basically a 56mm objective, 35mm tube, a little bit awkward, but we still got around that. Very good for light transmission and strength and all that sort of stuff. Just the bits and pieces you can buy for it are a little challenging always when you go with the 35s and 36s and 40s and that sort of stuff. Gets a little more complicated than the 30s and 34s, but still very, very nice in the engineering structuring side of it. Big feature with this scope is 150 minutes of elevation. So one of the side effects, benefits of not having the variable power side of things means that they can really give super clear vision, very nice glass, and right from 0 at 100 yards right out to 150 minutes of elevation. So wherever that is for that rifle combination, whether it's 2,000 yards or 2,500 yards, that's the sort of stuff that this can get to. So really looking forward. Same deal. I've set it up in it with a Vortex on the back of it and an air attack on the base of it, so I can get that out of any scope, any rifle setup I put it onto, or any rail I put it onto. as I said, a little quirky with a 35 mil. I got a 36 mil set of, or 36 mil because they don't do 35 that I've seen in the Air Attack, and I've run some composite half mil material, a couple of shims of that to bolt it down. So that means it's in there, it's nice, it's clamped up nicely, not damaging anything. Got to be careful in doing that side of things, but that will work properly. I'll keep an eye on that, but that means I'm in there. That's how I set it up. 150 minutes of elevation, and it's really with a really nice reticle inside there, super clear glass. Really looking forward to using that one. And like I said, for both those fellas, they're opposite sides of the equation in some levels, I suppose. For some people, they're either Valdata and the Night Force. I use a bit more of the Night Force, but I like them. And in a, like I said, tier 2, a little bit better budget conscious, both great options. Okay, that's them. On the scope thing, I got across a couple of things from MDT. First of which, is this base. And it's a 34 mil base, and it's just 0 MOA. Really, really sturdy looking, nicely machined piece of gear. 4 clamp down bolts, so it's going to hold it down nicely. It's got a little rib there to be able to retain it to make sure it sits in your rail properly and can't move. 6 bolts on each cap, nice wide caps. It's a really great unit, and it's going to go really well for people who want to clamp it down. They've got all the elevation in their rail, they're not changing that, and they want to fix their scope really solidly. Really good option with that. Another little feature the MDT do are these different caps that let you bolt rails or bits and pieces on the top here. So for night vision or for whatever you're putting on there, laser rangefinder, whatever you want to put to it, you can actually put these on here to do that sort of stuff. Not something you're going to see on what I do, but listen, I just wanted to show it off. It is a very nicely machined piece of gear, and when I find a place to put that on, where I'm normally using the Air Attacks, then I will be using it, but just wanted to show it off. Actually, what I got from those guys was this fella here. This Aurochs, or however you say it, chassis. So it's a nice little budget option, which I got across to have a look at, and I want to set up a rifle in. I was planning on putting in one of the 6mm Creedmoor or 6.5 Creedmoor, that sort of stuff, but I have actually a spare 1500 or Howe 1500 action, and one that I've been asked about several times, and I've been sort of thinking about. I'd like to try it. It's a bit from the old school. It's a 22-250. Now, yes, I could do the 22 Creedmoor, or there's other options I could do in the modern stuff, but every time I actually take one of the old cartridges that's been around for a long while and just tweak it, just set it up for in the right barrel with the right free bore throat, push the throat for it, wherever you want to say it, I find they always perform so well. So 22-250, I've never owned one, I've never used one, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. So that's what I'm going to put in here. And I've got a barrel, a 7.7 to 1 twist, so should work really well with the 90 grain of the different choices, where it's a Sarah Match King or it's a Burger, or there's a couple of others that we'll do, but we'll run a 90 grain 22 in it in the 7.7, trying to, I presume we'll be getting up around the 3,000 feet per second. Really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great little option, and whether we stay with the 22-250 or try something else, like I said, every time I take one of the old ones and tune it, they always work so well, but really looking forward to it. And the chassis is a really nice little, it's a mono construction of aluminium on the inside, got composite on the outside. It's a lightweight system, and yet it's very sturdy built. So look forward to showing it off. Same deal. Once I build it, fight it, use it, we'll do a proper review. But that's that bit there in the 22-250. Now there are some other things coming. I have the 28 Muzzle, which isn't far away. That's coming in a new action, and we hope to be able to show that off. We've got our 300 WSM that's coming. That's not far off, and that's really sort of to round up a little bit our Magnum 30 cal series and what we're doing, and I'll go through and tell you what my thoughts are and all that sort of stuff, but all going very well. But probably the big feature, which we have to bring today, is this. The TACOM HQ structured barrel. Eventually, it's here. We've actually got it in our hands. Bit of a long-winded story. John from TACOM HQ, John and Jacob over there, but John he contacted me almost a year ago now saying, listen, like to get us shooting one of these. And he wanted to basically organise a barrel for us, get it across to us, and as to what we could do to actually, so we could run it through the paces, doing what we do with a barrel, and give us our feedback on it, and also do a little bit of showcasing and that sort of stuff. So I agreed to that with open arms. Very, very excited to try a new concept and in a good idea, and see how it all went for us, see what we could do with it. That was the start of a very long process. It took a little bit, not that long, but John got his stuff all organised in the way of doing the barrel. Obviously crazy times to be doing things with COVID and all that side of things, but his stuff, we're doing it. It's a 338 barrel, 1 in 9 twists from memory. I have to look it up. We figured it out a long time ago, like I said, a year ago. We're actually running the 33 XC, the David tub, basically a 338 Lapua souped up, so it takes more powder and longer case and all that sort of stuff. But that's basically what's going in here. So we got across the which John has helped out and supplied as well, which was the ream and some brass. So we're ready to get together and put this together to go to the gunsmith and do that. All that got ready. Then no doubt all the government officials, the individuals were doing all they could do, but the systems and the processes have been enhanced to another level. Over 2 months to get it through the process over in America. Not quite, but almost the same to get it through the process in Australia to get it to us. So fairly painful process. Like I said, not awesome timing for that sort of stuff, but excuses. A long time to get here. It's here. I was going to take it straight to the gunsmith, but I thought, listen, I'd really like to show you guys the barrel in itself to start off with. For those that don't know what they're looking at, it's a great big heavy barrel. It's sort of is, but in its core structure, yes, it's a great big fat barrel. If you look down the end of it, it's actually drilled. So that's the structure barrel bit we're talking about, like a truss section that's all the way, it's similar to an outside sheath with truss joints into the center sheath, into a thinner barrel in the middle, is part of the concept. Done obviously with a solid piece drilled out, but that's part, and it's the structured sort of comment about it. The other detail is, and all this crazy look on the outside of it, from holes drilled down here to threads with interruption points. This is all done with the concept of trying to alleviate harmonics. Now what that process is, it's not just a try, I shouldn't word it that way. It is using engineering concepts of shapes and designs and things to interrupt vibrations, which is, and ultimately what a harmonic is that vibration, that shock vibration. It starts as a shock, but vibrations going up and back end up joining together, end up creating small vibrations, create larger vibrations, which creates whip and harmonics and all those bits and pieces we're talking about. So the simple concept, if you can control that shock, so you're trying to absorb it rather than have it bouncing around the place, and stop it from combining and creating a harmonic, then you are going to win. You're going to end up with a more stable barrel. So simple things like the structuring to start off with is sort of taking the center main shock point and then insulating that shock as it comes out through these thinner sections to get the outside, and the outside is stabilizing. So you can imagine it like a dampener, which has a thinner section between it, so the outside is controlling the inside a little bit. So that's one part of it. Another part of it is these different shapes means that the shock that's trying to travel backwards and forwards has all these interruption points. In the surface largely, but even deeper than that, there's all these interruption points. So those vibrations that are trying to work with each other are getting interrupted by all these other bits and pieces. Then you've got these holes, which are unevenly spaced to try and help and interrupt things as well. But this is also designed around the concept of cooling. By that movement, it creates movement of air, which then draws air in and flows through to try and help cool. So try and run the barrel in a real, if you look at that there, if you took this outside edge off, you could sort of see what a set of cooling fins look like on a two-stroke motorbike or lawnmower or something like that. So these are semi-proven, semi-concept. And certainly the bits and pieces I've seen, I should say those features. The barrel has certainly been through some proving stages, and of all the feedback I've heard from it has been all very positive. I'm really looking forward to testing what I can test and use it the way we do. We'll do the same sort of process and really give you an honest feedback of what I feel of this thing. The 100-yard testing, taking muzzle brakes off and messing around and that sort of stuff, we're not set up to do that sort of thing, and it's not the sort of testing that I'm going to wear a barrel out doing. We're going to do the real stuff where the rubber meets the road in what we do, starting at 600 yards, going out to a mile, doing our testing in that stuff, the little bit through the wet season, and we get into the long stuff, then get out to where we really want to do things at 3,000 and 4,000 yards sort of stuff, and really see how we can make a 3.3 XC perform with what should be a super stable barrel. This is going in our Lapua Barnard action rifle that we have the 378 Weatherby Magnum in. So that's where it's going, and that one also runs the 300 Norma Magnum, but designed to go in there. So really looking forward to that rifle shooting brilliantly. Really want to see what this thing can take it to. So really looking forward to that, and like I said, give you some honest feedback to go with that. Last bit I'd say is down the end here. This is where we're putting the muzzle brake on. And as for my conversation last week, talking about trying to keep that larger, when I first looked at this end, I thought, okay, if you machine that down, like it's an 1 5/8, maybe a little bit, no, sorry, it's a 5/8 thread, which is not what I'd want to put on the end of a 338 Lapua, let alone a souped up 338 Lapua. So what I've looked at I'm going to be using this concept to work with me, where the roots, basically without getting too complicated, the muzzle brake will be threading on, not quite, but the tops of those high points. We'll machine it down a little bit, but on the tops of the high points, still seal properly, so it'll stop the gas from transferring, but I'll actually give it an extra little thing of, rather than it being a whole joint that's pulling on the rifling. If you see the previous video we did on muzzle brakes, that'll make more sense. It'll be on those high points, which will be another nice insulation. And this is one of my 4 ports I plan to put on the top here. That's got a 3/4 by 24 thread. So set up on those high points, butted in properly, that sort of stuff. Should be awesome. Should work really well as well for what we're talking about. So anyway, that's how we put that. That's about the list of bits and pieces. Really looking forward to this one. Thank you very much, John and Jacob over there. Really looking forward to showing off your handiwork. And thank you for all the people, the guys who did most of the work over there for us, which I should make a note to. That's the guys at Reloaders International. Those guys over there really helped us out with going through the process of doing the licensing. They were the ones waiting all the time for the government officials. Thank you for all the government officials that helped. I would like to change our processes a little bit, so it all took a lot faster, but still here, done. Thank you everybody on that side of things. And as for the rest of it, really looking forward to seeing how all this stuff works. As said, actually with all of this stuff, we'll give a proper individual review as we go. But this time around, I really want to put some miles on them, do a bit of working with them, use them a little bit more, that sort of stuff. Then we'll put together a video about what we think on individual ones. But equally, all these bits and pieces were already selected out of the thinking about it. They aren't just sent here as random stuff. This is stuff that they either ask us if what we're looking at in that range, or I've asked them. So listen, that's something I'd like to look at. I think it would suit my audience. Anyway, guys, that's about what I can tell you today. As said, there's some more stuff coming anyway. We'll go through that individually, but this is just a little show off of these bits and pieces. Really, I was waiting for this structured barrel to be able to show it off. It's over to the gunsmith now. We'll get it in the rifle. We'll make it make some noise, and we'll put some videos together of using it. So really looking forward to that. And the rest of it, well, we'll see how it all goes, but it all looks great so far. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for checking in. Catch you next time.